Hello everyone. My name is Jace. Welcome to the video. Perfect. Could just try that again, or we could roll with it. What do you think? Well, here we are. Okay, hello. My name is Jace, and I'm a solo game developer living here in Sweden. Today is going to be a state of dev for the development of my solo game dev for April 2024. Before we get into it, the first thing I want to say is there's going to be a special stream, a bonus stream on Wednesday this week, starting at about 4 p.m. CEST. Hope to see you there, twitch.tv/gemballs. Also, I go live on my live channel too, here on YouTube, if you prefer to use YouTube. There's links in the description below to both of those if you want to check it out. And even though, I'd only put up a state of dev video a month ago, and then there's been nothing on this channel for a month, I have still been streaming regularly, at least once a week on both of those channels. So do check that out. I stream every Saturday and then sometimes an extra stream on another day at some point. So do check out the links if you want to hang out between these videos. There'll probably be a little bit more content coming out on this channel this month though. So you can look forward to that. Anyway, on to the state of dev. The first thing, last month, what I said was I was going to be working on level design, art, and writing for this month, throughout April. So let's go over how that went. We'll start with level design. I did a level design stream, and that was pretty fun to do. But upon reflecting on working on that, and in the moment while I was working on it, I sort of realized that I'm not really sure if I want to do one large map or smaller segmented maps. So the way that my game is going to work is it takes place in the city, right? And do I want one big city map, kind of like an open world, but it's not like a massive map or anything like that. But like, do I go with one large map or like smaller segmented maps? And looking back, I'm not sure. So my initial gut feeling was to go with the larger map. That's what my vision was initially. But when I started working on it, I started considering, maybe a smaller segmented maps where I have a bunch of different maps that I can, you walk down a street and you load in another map. Maybe that's a better approach. And here's a couple of reasons why I like that approach. The first is that it's more manageable. If I change something in one area on a segmented map, it doesn't affect the other areas. So for example, if I change the size of that map, it doesn't really affect the areas, right? I also won't need to create any visual transitions between those areas in order to create different vibes. Or, if I have one big map, either everything looks the same across the entire map, or it doesn't change drastically, which maybe could be boring, might still be good. But if I have the segmented maps, I have the freedom to do whatever I want in each map, because going from one segment to another segment gives a feeling of the player traveling some distance to get somewhere new, and now this could just be a new part of the city and it looks different, and that's just believable and okay. So I kind of like that as well. And so there's part of me that's leaning more towards the smaller segmented maps now, but there's still part of me that is hanging on to the larger map idea, probably just because I'm afraid to let go of things. But anyway, because of this conundrum, level design kind of stalled a little bit. Now you might say, well, that's kind of a shitty reason to stall entire, level design. But there's another reason why level design stalled too. And it was because I still am lacking more information that I need in order to make this decision. And that is from the writing, which I hadn't had before, but I think I do now. Okay, so we'll talk more about writing in a moment, but that's the other reason was there's just a lot of information missing. Things like, well, what kind of places of interest am I actually going to need and where on the map, I have a better idea, a more concrete idea of those things now than I did a month ago. All right, so the next part is going to be art. And my goal this month with the art was to create art to facilitate level design. But as level design has stalled, so did art. But not all hope was lost. Some art was done. So as you might have remembered, a couple months ago, I talked about starting a coffee account. And tier 3 members over there over the past couple of months that actually gotten small little pixel art drawings. Now, fun fact about these, I never said this, but many of those drawings were actually concept art from the game. Not all of them, but many of them were. So congratulations to those who got those concept art pieces. However, coffee memberships are no more. I've canceled them for reasons that if I talk about it, it'll be its own video. Yep. But I had already done a few doodles this month already before I had to cancel all that stuff and refund everyone the stuff for the month. So I can show you what those are now, and here they are. One of them are concept art. This one's concept art. The other one is not. And not only that, I did some other fun kind of just quick doodle at the end of a stream once, and that's this one here. It's super not finished or whatever, but this is actually also concept art of potentially a character. Yeah, just a couple little bits of art. And now I think regardless of the whole coffee membership situation, whatever, I think I'm going to continue making these doodles because they were a really great way for me to practice pixel art and capture locations or like story moments or vibes tangibly, you know, in like a visual sort of way. And I think that was really good as well. Also, I was using different palettes all the time, so I was getting more familiar with different kinds of constraints rather, with color. And that was really fun as well. So I think perhaps I'll keep maybe doing these. They're a great exercise for me to become better at pixel art. And maybe I'll just post these publicly for everyone to enjoy. Now, you might be wondering, why not just make art for your game? And I don't plan on making any serious art for my game just yet. Only placeholder stuff to facilitate level design or UI or something like that, just to get things rolling. And the reason for that is that I'm way too slow at working on it. And it's also because I don't want to have to redo stuff later. If I start making stuff that's final now, it's going to take me a long time because I'm slow, and then that could change, right? Because the level design might change, colors might change, story might change, anything might change, and then I have to redo it again. The risk is too high, and not only that, if I just left it a bit more, I'll probably be a little bit better of an artist later anyway, and I'll have more contextual information to work from. And I think I'll just do a better job, minimize the risk of wasting time by doing that art later. That's just kind of that's my reasoning. Okay. So yeah, gonna wait it out a bit, and I think it'll be a little bit more effective if I do that. Okay, so the last thing to talk about is the writing, and the writing has progressed incredibly nicely. This is where a lot of my productivity went to. It was really, really great taking a whole month to just focus on this. I really felt bad about not making videos, and I felt the urge to make videos, and I wanted to talk about the writing process a little more, and maybe I can still make a video on that. But it was also really, really useful to just steep and marinate in the writing process and not have a lot of distractions. I think I really, really needed that. I don't think I could have made the progress I made if I was busy trying to get a video out every week. So this has been really great. Now, coming into the project, I already knew what the story was going to be for the game. I already knew what was going to be told, but I didn't have all the details spelled out and how, you know, in words, how everything is tying together. So the process of outlining everything, which is what I've done, has been interesting because it's exposed like a bunch of flaws and weaknesses in the narrative and the world building of the game as well, because the narrative also facilitates the world building, and those weaknesses needed a bunch of like problem solving, which I did a lot of. And so now I would sort of say that the main narrative is like 80% outlined. Some of that even has some actual dialogue in the game as well that may actually even be final in the final game, which is pretty cool. But I didn't want to push the main narrative to like 100% complete and locked in, rock solid, because I don't want it to become rock solid. I don't want it to become too fixed. The writing at the end of the day does not exist in a vacuum. This is part of a bigger thing, a whole game. None of the features exist in a vacuum. I don't want 100% perfect of any one thing. I want all the things to be working nicely together and have the best game I can possibly have, right? And so writing doesn't exist in a vacuum, and it has to also be affected by level design, art, and programming. And if it doesn't, that's one hell of a coincidence, but it likely will. If the writing is 100% locked in and rock solid, it becomes really brittle. I'm afraid it would become really brittle, and that if I ever need to compromise on it because some other area of the game requires that compromise, then the narrative might just fall apart or just be really hard to work with. And I don't want that. So I want wiggle room with the narrative. You know, at being around 80% outlined, I think that's a pretty good start, especially having a bunch of dialogue to work from in the earlier parts of the game already sorted as well. I think this means that we probably have enough to work from at this stage, and I don't need to push it too much. So that was the main narrative. Side quests, however, are still a little bit lacking. I have some good side quests that are outlined. I have some even with dialogue, which are decent. Many of the side quests that I've gotten also need a lot of work in order to be fun or interesting. But most of the side quests that I need don't even exist, and I don't even have ideas for them, actually. But I need them. I know that I need them because based on my outline, I need them. So side quests are in a bit of a rough shape right now, but the benefit of the side quests is that they are far, far easier to slot into the game than the main narrative stuff was to work within itself. So it should be, you know, they aren't free, but it should be easier. The other thing with side quests is that they need to be really, really fun and interesting. in my opinion. I don't want to sit down and force more side quests out. Side quests are like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. I think that's the exact quote that Stephen K. Amos said. I think it was him who said it. Anyway, that's not the quote, by the way. I'm going to keep the side quest on the back burner while I do other things. And hopefully I'll have moments of inspiration of like, oh, this would make a good side quest, or this is an interesting topic to explore. And then I'll make those notes, and hopefully just like naturally and organically, I'll come up with like really good side quests that are fun and interesting. And then the last part that I'll have to force is just to make sure that it slots in a good way with the game. And I'll have to massage the side quest a little bit there. But I think that's super doable. Okay, so that's the update basically on all that stuff. So what's the plan for the next month? This next month, I'm thinking that because I've made so much ground on the writing, that I would like to start implementing quest lines entirely. I want to pick an approach to one of the level designs. Either we go the large map or segmented levels. Honestly, I think I'm leaning towards segmented levels. You might be watching me make the decision live right now. It's happening in my brain. I need to pick one of these with the level design and just start going. Whether I end up undoing it later or not, I just have to just take one of those routes and run with it to see where it leads me. And then I want to start creating parts of that level that are required for a quest line and start implementing them along with actual cutscenes. And the reason for this is that in that case, I'll make some progress with level design. I'll make some work in progress art, which would be great practice for me, and I'll learn some new things doing that. I'll be able to test my cutscene system, which is missing features and probably has broken features. So this will be a great way to test those. And also I'll be able to test the quest functionality as well to make sure that's working out as well. And if I can tie all that together and get actual cutscenes going, get some placeholder music going, things like that, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to see just a little glimmer of the game playing out in front of us. And I think that could be kind of interesting. Now, what's kind of tricky is I do have a bunch of writing now. So I could implement the actual story, but I don't want to show y'all that. And so I don't want to work on the actual story on stream, which creates an issue. So what do? Well, one thing I'm sort of thinking is maybe I can just make a fun side story or quest line that may or may not make it into the final game. That could be kind of fun. Maybe I could work with Twitch chat or live stream chat, come up with something bizarre to work from that will test everything that I want to test. But we'll sort of see. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas right now, and I really don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll have to make a decision very, very soon. So that's the goal. Hopefully by the end of next month, we'll have like, maybe we'll be able to play through a quest line. I don't know. That would be sick if we can get that far. That's probably a lot of work though. If we got a quest line working entirely, that would be very impressive. But in any case, I think at the very least, we will have identified a bunch of issues and solved them. So that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole update. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, please leave a like and comment below if you enjoyed it. And I hope you all have a lovely week. Like I said, this is going to be a live stream on Wednesday, live stream on Saturday this week. There'll probably be some videos out throughout the next month. And otherwise, I'll see you with another State of Dev at the end of next month of May. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Catch you all later. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye. In my brain.